Test, test. Testing. 1 1. Testing.
All right, are we ready? Okay, so we're going to continue on with our meeting for this evening. Trying to find my place. Um, Bear with me for one moment. Okay, all right. So thank you guys all. I'm hoping you were all out there to celebrate all of our PBIS schools and the accomplishments that they've made for our students and our families here in the district. It's amazing to see how well we've done. And I think that as a school board member, when you're out and about, we just assume this stuff is all, that everyone has this, right? Everybody has awards. Everybody does this. But it's not true. So congratulations again to all of our schools. We're so very proud of everybody. We did our pledge out there. We've done our recognition. So we are going to move on to our superintendent's report. We have nothing to report from closed session. Okay, now.
So, two things tonight. I just wanted to give a couple shout outs. You're going to hear some reports. You're going to hear some reports. So, a couple shout outs. I want to take a moment, if I can see, there's Mike McAdams. And Mike McAdams is going to do a presentation tonight. And he's been working on something with our local businesses. And I know for our board, this idea of hiring local, and as we want to be very good community partners, and I know that's an important part to our board as well. And so over the years, the board has encouraged us to look at our community partners, our businesses, to be able to hire local. So Mike, unfortunately, sometimes our timing isn't the best, but in the middle of the pandemic, he started a new organization where he reached out to local businesses and started having sessions to help businesses, some cases some mom and pop shops, and in some cases bigger local companies that hire local Fullerton employees to be able to access and be able to provide services to to our district. And so he's nurtured at this last meeting he had. We actually had 60 businesses show up, and he's been doing this. He's had 15 new businesses start to work with us, 15 new local businesses that hire local employees. And so I just wanted to give him a big shout out to doing that, and he's really grown. And if you haven't met Mike, Mike's got the personality to make those connections and make people feel valued. So a shout out to you, Mike. And then one more shout out tonight. It's to all our employees, to the dedication, to the innovation and the services that we provide. But I wanted to take a moment to thank Julian and her team. So just a few months ago, I was at a county superintendent's meeting, and Christine Olmstead said to us, "Hey, there's this community grant out there, and some of the districts here, you're in the position to really be able to, with many of the services you're already providing, with the good team of people that you already have, to be able to apply for this multi-million-dollar grant." And so she indicated that our district, which is really all of you, it's all our teachers, it's all our staff, it's our classified staff, it's our good leaders and administrators, it's our good board, indicated that we were in a position to apply. But here's the bad news. So she said, "I really want to encourage you. There is more money than ever," but she said it's due next week. So I remember going back to Julian and I said, could you look at this, see if this is the sort of things that we can do, that we have the infrastructure in place to at least get it started. And she put it together in 1 week. And worked really hard, and it's a testament for sure to Julian and her team, but it's a testament to every staff member that over the years have really put in new programs and new innovations. And I want to give a shout out to the board on this, because it's really about this community grant, and you'll hear more, is really about the whole child and about meeting the needs of the whole child. And I know that's been really important to all our board members here, and that, in fact, is one of our board goals. And so this idea of social emotional, but also physical health. And so when we talk about board goals that impact our kids in meaningful and profound ways, the whole child and meeting the needs of the whole child is an important way to be able to do that. And so to be able to have great academic success comes with meeting the needs of kids. And so just it's a moment to thank the board for your foresight in putting this goal. It's a moment to thank staff, the innovation that they've shown, the new programs that have been put in mental health, and in many, many other areas. I'm proud of the work that we did during the pandemic. We have some folks here. A shout out to Pamela, helped lead us in the work of instruction and trying to innovate in this area. And so I just, again, very proud of this district. I'm proud of the employees, and I'm proud to be able to serve in Fullerton School District. And I want to thank Julian for going that extra mile. You should see this grant. It's a nightmare, and Julian put it together in a really short period of time. So thanks, Julian.
Thank you. Thank you. She gets a cupcake for that? An extra cupcake. If anyone knows Dr. Lee, if you put a challenge in front of her, it might be something that she's going to grab a hold of and just run with. So we congratulate your competitive spirit in making that happen. So thank you. Information from our Board of Trustees. We'll start with Trustee Meyer.
Thank you. Well, I have a couple of things that I wanted to share, and the first one was, this is why you all have these hats here today. It was the M&O celebration, where everybody from the M&O department comes together for a thank you luncheon, and awards are given. And what a cool award that they got. Not a plaque, not a bunch of flowers. It's a Carhartt jacket. Is that cool? Nice job. Thank you to M&O and everybody who put that together. That was a fun event. This month, and I'm going to read this because it made a a big difference to me with a few things. It says this year we're recognizing the 75th anniversary of the Mendez versus Westminster trial. It's an important historical case that ended segregation schooling in California. We are extremely grateful to have had the opportunity to hold a virtual assembly with author Duncan, who wrote a couple of books that we have. And I watched the webinar, and he didn't really read this, he paraphrased it, and it was so powerful to read, to listen to his story of the case. And I met Sylvia with Pam Keller a couple of years back at Richmond School, and I actually did not really realize who she was. And this brought the whole thing to light for me. And I want to thank you. And Erlinda, a great job. Kudos to you. And today we had the PTA luncheon, which is a nice kickoff where all the principals get together with their PTA officers and find out about what's going on in the school with the Parent-Teacher Association. That was a nice luncheon. And a nice visit to Golden Hill. I tagged along with Hilda today to see what a great things Golden Hill is doing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. Today's PBIS program was really great to see. I can't believe every one of our campuses was recognized. And so I guess the goal now will be platinum at every school.
Is platinum below gold?
I don't think in this one. I saw that the Encore program has started. I was picking up my son today. There were separate sign-out books. This is very exciting. And it was great to hear from Ms. Mendoza, who we previously recognized, that she was given a raise and a promotion because of the extra duties that she now has. So I'm very happy to hear all of that. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but our transportation team, our bus drivers, are preparing for the rodeo next year. And so my sons and I got to sit in the back as JD, who used to drive buses, showed everybody how it was done. He did not actually, I wish he was here to defend himself, he did not actually have a perfect parallel parking, but just the fact that we have folks that are training for this and transporting our children, keeping them safe, is just fantastic. We're going to be talking a little bit about online safety, and you know, this is so important. I know that our internet system can block folks that don't have .edu or .org FSD emails from reaching our students, but you know, there's also what our students are able to do. I have 2 teenage sons now, preteen and teenage, and so there are things on the internet, and we want to protect them, but without maybe being kind of recognizing curiosity without having an element of punishment. And so this is a discussion that I'm looking forward to. And then we're also going to be talking about the ongoing discussion of keeping our students safe on campus and our sort of deepening relationship with our school, our police department here in Fullerton, and what access they might have to some of our video surveillance. And I'm looking forward to that discussion as well. I really, you know, for folks in the community, you know, I want to hear what concerns they might have and what they're looking for in everything that we're doing to protect our students while they're on campus. So looking forward to that.
Thank you. All right, we'll start. Trustee Sugarman.
Good evening. First, I want to congratulate Valencia Park and Fissler for receiving Apple Distinguished Schools Awards. That's a big deal, and I know that they work very hard to receive those, and it means they keep evolving to improve what their skills are. I'm so proud. 20 PBIS schools. I was on the committee at St. Jude Hospital that brought the topic of Fullerton School District joining the efforts to become PBIS. And I believe that under the leadership of Barry Ross and the Fullerton St. Jude Hospital Community Outreach Committee, that we've seeded the money for the first couple of schools that tried out into that program. So it really is special and heartwarming to me that all 20 of our schools have implemented behavior plans to remind children specifically what is expected of them at every site. And right now, I think that our former education in that area and now our continuing is making a difference in the adjustment of students and staff and everybody to school. So kudos to every single school on that award. Next, I'd like to talk about two things from the Fullerton Education Foundation. Grants evaluations are coming up, and grants for teachers are due October 24th. I'll repeat it. Any teachers who want to apply for grants from the Fullerton Education Foundation, October 24th. And in order to fund those grants, we need money. And so, would you hit that flyer for me, Ann? Anna's going to show you the flyer for our Giving Day, November 3rd. There it is. Isn't it pretty? Anyway, please tell your friends, tell your parents, tell everybody. We even accept donations from our unions of money to fund grants for staff. And we want to be able to provide as many grants as possible for our teachers. So good luck to our teachers who are applying. And thank you, knowing that you're going to spread the word so everyone's going to donate to the Ed Foundation so we can give out lots and lots of wonderful grants. Two things that are exciting but a little bit sad. One is that Director Zheng Lai is leaving our district as of October 31st. She was recruited, sought after, roped into an amazing job in Vietnam. And she will be leaving on the 31st of October for Vietnam, and we really wish her well. We encourage people in our district to get their doctor's degrees, to expand their knowledge, to get administrative degrees. And so we can only send them forward with happiness and blessings on their next job. For those of you who know her husband, Ted Lai, who used to be Jeremy Davis, in a former life, he's been working for Apple. He will be a stay-at-home dad when they get to Vietnam. Well, not even a dad, a stay-at-home husband. The girls will be here, and he's going to take a little bit of time off and then find a job in Vietnam. So Zheng's job is really a big deal for their family, and we're so proud of her, so proud. When you see her, give her a hug and wish her well. Last of all, and I'm not using the microphone. I will not be here at our next board meeting, but we will be losing one of our stellar board members who for 12 years has served on this board and helped us with so many progressive and challenging times. But this is not new. Janie is true blue. Of course, she's probably wearing blue. Fullertonite. Her mom taught in Fullerton. She taught in Fullerton, Commonwealth, and Hermosa Drive. She was on, thank you, on the board for the teachers union, for FETA, Teachers Union. She negotiated for FETA. Then she sold out, ran for office, and became a member of the school board. And the teachers know they have a strong friend in Janie and someone with insights to know what's important for our students. As a teacher, Janie was a gate teacher near the end of at the end of her career at Hermosa Drive. So that was a change, right? She changed from a classroom teacher at Commonwealth to a combination 5th, 6th grade gate teacher at Hermosa Drive. And then she was approached, would you be a guinea pig? We want you to try out a one-to-one program that's never been tried out in California, and we'd like to try it out to see how it works in your classroom. That meant she had to learn how to use a brand new device, a laptop. So she got some training in June, she played with it during the summer, and she hit the ground running, really running, in September. Those were the good old days. We started in September. And Janny was one of our most skilled people in technology. As a matter of fact, I remember the first year that she had technology going into her classroom, and a couple of her students were presenting video book reviews, dressed in costume, right, Mr. Lamelli? Dressed in costume. And that was beyond innovative. It was before the invention of smartphones, before the invention of iPads. It was primitive times, and she knew how to entice her students and how to bring education forward without fear. Janny, we are so proud to have had you serve on our board. I'm honored to have served these years with you. And now, as you go forward, I know the next chapter will be fun. Would you show us some pictures of her life? There she is, her last thing. Oh, well, go ahead. There's Janny near the beginning. That's a wine cellar. She was helping with Fullerton Education Foundation. There she is welcoming Jackie when Jackie was principal at Fissler School, our first principal at Fissler. Here she is giving out money. She was very excellent at giving out money.
Dresses up for it.
Yeah, well, of course, Fullerton Education Foundation. And that beautiful doll represents her favorite event, which is
Toast to learning.
the Toast to Learning. And she ended every welcoming speech with,
Raise your glass, and we toast to the kids.
and that's what she has done her entire professional life, caring about the kids. The doll, the next picture is the last activity I thought she might be formally doing, but this is the 9/11 celebration at Fissler School. And in Janny's house, no one gets away. That's her sister with her, helping with the festivities. So Janny, thank you for all your years of service, and let's all stand up and give her some applause. Well, she might be, but maybe sometimes people don't.
Now she won't.
Now she will. Thank you.
Janny, you want to say something, Janny?
I know, Hilda, you scared me. I was like, how do I follow that up?
I was going to
like,
say,
I should.
Hilda, that was beautiful.
Yeah, no, that was. So I'll share just briefly, because I mean, how do you follow that up with, I mean, I wish I would have written something down for Janny as well too, but I was waiting for December. I was waiting for December. Yeah. No, so I want to congratulate Orange Thorpe, Sherwood Forest opening up. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that open space that was created, so big kudos to Scott and his team and all out there, but also for the teachers and to envisioning, and also for the principal Bennett for envisioning what that space was going to look like out there. So was out there for the ribbon cutting ceremony a few weeks ago. Do also want to give kudos to a lot of the schools that celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month in September. I was out, had the privilege, and was invited to go out to Valencia Park and have mariachi and folklorico dancers out there. They live streamed it, so I'm sure you can find it on their Facebook page. So just kudos to everyone there. Again, also with Encore, one of my boys, the youngest one, is partaking in that program, and is really, really amazing. He's loving it. Certain things he digs, and other things he's kind of a little hesitant on, but again, it's a great opportunity for expanded learning in different ways. So I give everyone on the team, Jason and his team, for putting that together. Really amazing opportunity for a lot of those kids to be able to, expand some of that mindset. Also, I did want to also share and give a shout out to a lot of the teachers. Parent-teacher conferences were actually this past month. So don't know if you all know, but all the work that gets put into that happening, meeting with, pretty much every single parent that the teacher has. Me thinking more on the junior high aspect of it is that's like a lot of students, it's not just, one class, you got different periods and things like that. So do want to give them a shout out as well too for making that happen, because as a parent, I think that's really valuable to getting that feedback, kind of setting the ground, setting the foundation for the rest of the year is really, really amazing for that. And then also shout out to our 20 schools, PBIS, recognition. That was really amazing to see all that come through. But yeah, with that.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right, I don't have to say much because you guys have said that all. All right, we'll move on. Thank you guys for all of your comments. We will move on to our information from associations. Do we have someone from DLAC this evening?
President Berryman, I'll be reading on behalf of
Okay,
DLAC.
thank you.
Good evening, President Berryman, school board members, executive cabinet, Superintendent Dr. Pleka, and all families present and those listening. Thank you to Dr. Julian Lee, Dr. Linda Soltero Ruiz for recognizing Hispanic Heritage Month with the Author Assembly commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Sylvia Mendez fight for desegregation, and for sending books to kindergarten teachers for Hunger Day to learn about how the Korean alphabet helped more people learn how to read. Additionally, we want to thank Raymond Elementary Principal Christina Centeno, Julian Edinger, Assistant Principal, and all the parents for hosting the DLAC meeting on Friday, September 16, 2022. The event was well organized and we felt very welcomed by school staff and parent volunteers. The folklorico dance performed by the students was definitely a treat to all of us, and Mrs. Centeno did a great job at highlighting the DLA program. Our parent-family engagement trainings are continuing with the 10 Educational Commandments program at Maple and School Smarts program at Ladera Vista. These trainings provide tools and resources that continue to empower and support parents to navigate the school system so, in return, they can help their children reach their full academic potential. We look forward to seeing you at the Champions for Learning Conference on Saturday, November 5th. It will offer so many resources for the community. Sincerely, Igleth Nunsi, DLAC President.
I believe our board, I'll speak for our board, how proud we are of our DLAC committee, and how much, they have just grown over the years. Comparing that back to when I started as a board member and how they are now, it's amazing to see our parents step up and to take accountability and to be part of the process and have a seat at the table, and offer so much enrichment and so much for our district. So thanks to our DLAC group, thanks to everyone who helps them, walks alongside them, to help them, empower them to be great, to be part of this. So thank you. PTA, have anyone? Look who we have. It's a new PTA year, new council, great things happening. Join your PTA.
Yes. Let's see. Good evening, President Berryman, board members, and Dr. Pleka, and members of the cabinet. I'm just going to take a quick moment to introduce myself for those that don't know me. My name is Cindy Rivera. I am the Fullerton Council PTA president. I have big shoes to fill. I am working with our former president, now VP, Christy Carter. She is going to help me become familiar with everything and kind of just walk me through all the processes and procedures. I've got a loud voice, it's cool. All right.
Plan B.
Yeah, plan B, always good. He's always prepared. Membership.
So our schools have had a great start to our membership drive. We currently have over 3,100 members coming off of low enrollment nationwide. This is great. We have almost 100% of our schools with an online membership site. If you are interested in joining any of our PTAs, which I highly encourage, you can simply find them on the Totem site at jointotem.com. So we have almost, like I said, almost 100% involvement on our website. So really encourage anybody that wants to participate with that, please do. Reflections. So for those that aren't aware, we have the National PTA art competition called Reflections. Fullerton Council PTA has collected reflection art pieces, and we will continue to collect them from our sites on October 25th. For those that don't know, it starts off at the school sites. The PTAs will judge them accordingly. They have different categories. And then once they've picked their winners, if you will, it will then move up to Fullerton Council, and then it goes up to the district, and then state and national. It's a whole thing, and I highly encourage your students to do it. And then I'll end with this. I believe it's already been said, but today we hosted our PTA presidents and principals at our fall luncheon. We hope that the presidents and the principals are ready to hit it out of the park, if you will, by working as a team for a home run school year. For those that don't know, we had a theme of hitting it out of the park, so see what I did there. All right, so I think I'm all good. If you have any questions regarding PTA, please come see me after. Thank you.
Just if I can take a moment to acknowledge PTA and the really beautiful event that they put on, so well organized. It was fun. The theme was fun. They had literally the ballpark kind of hot dog theme going through, and it is, I know the district appreciates the PTA partnership, and we also look forward to working with you, Cindy. She handled the last meeting at PTA like an old pro, so thank you.
Thank you. So my plug for membership is the fact that PTA is the largest advocacy group for children in California, all over, right? And so with Orange County, our county, if you had to compare it to other states, would be like the 6th largest PTA around. So Orange County has a lot of area, a lot of members, but we're only as strong as our membership. So you don't have to volunteer in order to join PTA, and I think a lot of times people don't join because they don't have time, there's something there. PTA doesn't really necessarily need your hours, we need the membership, because when you go to Sacramento and you speak on behalf of PTA, it's so nice to say we represent, 1 million members or 100,000 members. In Orange County, we've been at 100,000 members. And so when we go to Sacramento to speak on behalf of our Orange County children, to be able to go up there and say, we have 100,000 members, people listen, right? So join your PTA, go on to Totem. You can join any PTA you like, or all of the PTAs if you'd like. Because again, it's speaking on behalf of all of our children here in Fullerton, in Orange County, and it means a lot. And it's just more than just a membership number. It really, truly is a voice. So there you go.
Thank you.
My PTA speech tonight. All right, CSEA.
I will be reading on behalf of CSEA also. Good evening, everyone. President Berryman, members of the board, Vice President Thakor, Clerk Talavera, members Mayor and Sugarman, and Dr. Pleca. I am Tizak Castillo, IABB at Valencia Park Elementary, and I am representing tonight's remarks for CSEA. We would like to thank everyone who was able to attend last Wednesday's celebration for our hardworking custodial staff. It was Custodial Appreciation Day, and our members felt appreciation from everyone that helped plan and organize this wonderful event. Our members are appreciative of the extra hours available through our Child Development Services Department, working at either a lab or ACES site. Also, the extra hours provided through the ELOP Encore funds. Our students truly have a fun and rewarding time through the Encore experiences. CSEA looks forward to the Paraprofessional Instructional Assistant Job Fair taking place at the Fullerton Marriott on Thursday, October 13th, 2022. Classified Human Resources will be providing on-site testing, on-site interviews, and application assistance. We hope this opportunity will bring more support to our students. We would like to thank our classified HR and all involved for putting this job fair together. Those are all our remarks from CSEA. Thank you, President Berriman, members of the board, and Dr. Pleka for your time.
That's innovative, right? Catch them while you can and keep them there and test them and do the whole 9 yards. So thank you for being innovative and thinking of other ways to recruit, right? Good job. All right. FIDA, Darlene.
Good evening. Good evening, President Berryman, board members, Dr. Pletka, cabinet, teachers, and guests. Congratulations again to all the schools who got PBIS awards. That's wonderful, and it just keeps showing how the we have to do these in the morning. Hard work has paid off once again. This past month, I had the privilege of visiting both Raymond and Golden Hill. Tanya Vargas, Lupe Escobar, and Yesenia Hernandez have amazing and engaging dual language classrooms. I was blown away by the work that Ms. Escobar and Ms. Hernandez have done in the writing and implementing of the IFT grants from CTA. The Spanish resources they purchased and continue to purchase complement their curriculum, and they should be highly praised. Sue Petanicchio had her students demonstrate their devices with the Touch Chat program, and it was incredible to see the way nonverbal students can use this program to engage with their teachers. Our teachers work hard and should be celebrated daily. A huge thank you to Scarlett Somoza from Woodcrest, Sue Petanicchio from Golden Hill, Ariel Cardenas from Hermosa, and Lori Trotter from Home Hospital for giving up a weekend and attending the CTA Special Ed Conference 2 weeks ago. It was both an inspirational and informative time we all spent together. We are in the bargaining season. It's a time that we all enjoy, and we are blessed to have teams that are thoughtful and willing to listen, discuss, and problem solve as we go through this process. We know that the inflation has hit so many members hard, and we are looking forward to a positive outcome that will support all of us. FETA is very interested in the development of the Community Schools Grant with FSD. One of the 4 pillars of community schools is collaborative leadership and practices. With that, FETA is looking forward to getting more information and becoming partners in the development of the Community Schools Grant, especially with Julie. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Fesma? Oh, look.
Good evening, President Berryman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Pletka, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Laura Makeley, Principal of Parks Junior High School and President of FESMA. Wanted to start with a big thank you to all of our classified and certificated staff for their hard work in making these first 2 months of school really such a great success. And I know that I speak on behalf of all classified and certificated management when I say it feels really good to be back to normal. In honor of last week's Custodian Appreciation Day, I'd like to recognize all of our district custodians. They work tirelessly every day, and they are so dedicated to making every school site a clean, safe place for our students. Finally, I want to give a shout out to all of my fellow administrators as well as our amazing classified management staff as we celebrate the week of the school administrator. Thank you to our executive cabinet for partnering with FESMA on a reception for all classified and certificated managers and the support of a community partner, Bourbon Street, to make that happen. We're celebrating this important week and we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do and congratulations on your new assignment. Okay, all right. So we are going to move on. I am going to go out of order just a little bit. What I'd like to do is section 9 of our agenda is the agenda approval. I would like to go to section 9 and approve our agenda with a change, and then go back to section 7. And there's a reason why I want to do this. So I'm going to go to section 9. Is there a problem? No problem? Okay, so section 9 is approving the agenda as it has been presented, but I want to make one change by pulling 11D, which is the technology use board policy. For my reason being is that it's a pretty comprehensive policy with a lot of details that when you start to ask one question, another question comes up, and then it's content and where is the content. So I think there's a lot of information that I think we still need in order to approve that policy, and just in giving us a little bit more time to get some additional information from our departments. So what I'm asking is that we approve the agenda with pulling 11D. And then once we do that, we have a public comment on an item that was in that, but it's no longer going to be something we vote on. So I'm going to put the public comment at the beginning of the public comments. Hope that makes sense to you guys.
I move that we approve the agenda with the elimination of 11D.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I spoke to it. Is there any further questions on that one? Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda with the exception of 11D that we've pulled, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Now I'm going to go back to public comments, section 7, because I have a public comment on the technology policy, which is we no longer have to use that for that item because we're not voting on it. Now it becomes an item where you can speak to the public now. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. All right, so Ruthie Hatchett. Ruthie Hatchett, welcome, thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for moving this up. It's an important conversation. So thank you, President Berryman and trustees and Dr. Pletka. My name is Ruthie Hatchett, and I'm a mom of 2 FSD students at Raymond. I also work professionally. I've been working the last 20 years as a child protection expert, and I teach on human trafficking at Vanguard University, where I've had the opportunity to train many parents and community members on how to keep kids safe online. So I'm deeply concerned about the risks that our kids face when they're online, and including through the tools and the tablets that we provide for them through FSD. And I believe it's our responsibility as adults to do everything possible to keep our kids safe and protect them. But I believe that part of that is empowering them to have the tools and the skills and the knowledge to make good choices themselves. So with these things in mind, I want to give some suggestions for the technology policy. And I think that, as you said, President Berryman, the policy gives us advice and sets the agenda, and a lot of it is implemented in the classroom through the curricula we choose. So those things need to be further investigated, and we need to sit down and figure out how we implement this policy well. I had a great opportunity to sit with Sub-Superintendent Jeremy Davis a few weeks ago, and we talked about this. We looked at our Common Sense Media curricula, where we're currently enacting much of this training in the classroom with our kids, but I think we can go further. We brainstormed about additional topics that could be included and ways we could even integrate it into our social emotional learning curriculum and other ways to reinforce our kids' learning and the skills that they need to keep safe. So I want to suggest to the policy specifically that we look at the tone, because I think the student use of technology policy needs to shift from one that's primarily focused on punishment of student violations to one that actually acknowledges the risk and the fact that children are often victims of intentional exploitation by unscrupulous adults and by accidental misuse. I think we should be focusing on how to protect and support our students as they navigate the online world and remove any shame or secrecy that child victims may have when they seek help, when they're exploited or manipulated. Instead, we need to ensure at a tone that's one of support rather than punishment. And I have some specific suggestions of how we can do that. I've emailed all of our board members with some of those exact line items. But specifically, what I would like to see us do is first recognize that children may be coerced and tricked into unsafe behaviors, and express our commitment to investigating and providing appropriate responses for kids that may have been exploited or in cases of abuse. And we need to hold accountable those who willfully violate our district policy or abuse our children. We second need to acknowledge the harms of pornography and our commitment to giving students practical steps to avoid inappropriate content. Third, I think we need to emphasize families and their important role. Our district should commit to family education and training as the first and most important educators, guiding our kids online and with their digital citizenship. Fourth, I want to see us develop and integrate developmentally appropriate language around self-generated child abuse materials, which research tells us now is common among 9 to 17-year-olds. We need our kids to know that about the harms of creating, sharing, reposting inappropriate content. And finally, we need to direct our teachers and talk with them about how to have these conversations, especially around the risks associated with social media, which we know is responsible for depression in our kids, related to self-esteem issues, body images issues. We know there's evidence that it really is leading to poor mental health outcomes for our kids. And so we need to have an ability to talk about those things. And we know that social media is also a common tool where children are recruited into exploitation. So I'm happy to follow up with additional conversation. I am passionate about this work. I want to be a part of the conversation. And I'm also really excited that with the Champions for Learning Conference on November 5th, I've been invited to give a talk on this topic. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I did forget to say the public meeting disclosure, but you had your timer going, so thank you, thank you. All right, Darlene Alquiza, there you go.
So good evening, President and trustees and superintendent and assistant superintendents. My name is Darlene Alquiza, and I am a parent of 2 children in the district. I wanted to share 2 things this evening. One is I wanted to say thank you to all of you for listening to parent concerns and the concerns of the faculty who had concerns in opposition to SB 866, AB 1993, and SB 866. We were able to get all of those bills pulled, so none of them passed, and it is with your help, along with other districts in the state. It's specifically important to me because I co-founded a nonprofit organization who fights to protect parental rights and education rights. During the pandemic, there were school districts who tried to implement mandates, and we sued them. Granada Hills is an example. They wanted to issue a mandate for employees, and we won that lawsuit. We also had a lawsuit against LAUSD, and I think we were a direct influence that had them pull back that mandate, which was going to put 34,000 kids into online learning, if that would have continued forward. So again, I just want to deeply say thank you because it was protecting children. There was no detriment to public health with no mandates being put forward. So thank you. The other thing that I wanted to say is, so my older child is in 4th grade now. When she was in kindergarten, I worked with Scott Schlaubs and at the time Principal McComb, talking about non-toxic schools, because I would like FSD to become a toxic-free or non-toxic school district. There was an attempt to do that. We had switched to Avengers, but the issue was it was too expensive and needed multiple applications to work. So right now we're using Lesco Pro, which is a smaller amount of glyphosate. But what we have to realize is it does not dissipate and it doesn't go away with watering or rain. And my children love to play on the grass. During the pandemic, they love eating lunch on the grass. And I think Newport Mesa, Irvine, Huntington Beach, Palos Verdes, those are just some of the school districts that are toxic free. And I think it's time for FSD to do that also. So I would be more than willing to have conversations. There's a nonprofit that's actually offered to give non-toxic products to the school to try out and also work with us to find what's affordable and effective. So thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you for coming to speak. Thank you for thanking. Thank you for the thank you. So many times we hear not the thank yous, so. All right, moving along, approving our minutes. Am I forgetting anything? I think I'm forgetting something. Approving minutes. Anybody want to approve our minutes from our last meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from September 13th, 2022.
All right.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the regular meeting minutes from September 13th. Do we have any, we had no changes, right? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any, okay, all right. We already did 9, so we'll move on to 10. Consent agenda. Hilda, you have something from the consent agenda?
I do. Would you like me to start now with A? A is our wonderful, wonderful list of donations. And if you look at this list of donations, you will see large amounts of money given from our schools' foundations and PTAs, which support exceptional programs for teachers and schools. And without that support, those schools wouldn't have the amazing programs they have, or they would have to find those funds in another way. Right now, for this month, $96,207 were donated to our schools, and they deserve a big wow. Thank
Wow.
you. Wow, and thank you. Second, I'd like to comment on G, and G is our Administrators Week. You know, we love our teachers. We love all of our classified employees, but sometimes I'm not sure that our principals know how much we love them.
Right.
And we are totally aware of the most important role they play in schools, and they help set the tone and the direction and the spirit, and they work between all of our employees, our community, and our parents, and the needs of our students. So it's exciting to see that we have all those resolution comments for Administrators Week. Does anyone else want to speak on G? Because otherwise, I'll just keep right on
No,
going.
absolutely. I'll speak on that as well. I'll just
Okay.
ditto what you say and give kudos to all of our principals, even those principals that have stepped up to take on additional responsibilities. We've had a lot of turnover, or we've had a lot of new principals over the past couple of years. For our seasoned principals, it's wonderful to see that they are embracing all of our newcomers and helping them and walking alongside them. And that's what it takes to bring our district together. So I really appreciate that as well.
The next one I wanted to point out was R. And thank you, Mike McAdam. We are going to be getting new recreational equipment on our playgrounds, and they need it in many cases. You never have too much elementary school play equipment. So thank you very much. That's awesome. And finally, I would direct attention to FF. It's our ongoing parent education at Pack Drive in technology. I am so happy to know that through all these years, we continue to support families who would like to have education in certain areas, whether it's cooking, English language learning, and technology. Fullerton School District finds the funds to support parents, and in those efforts, we support children, because when children see the work and the education their parents are putting in after work, after hours, after house cleaning, to better their lives and better their families, they see the value of education. So I think FF is really a wonderful, important thing that Pack Drive is doing.
Yep. Anybody
Those are my comments on the consent calendar. And with that, I'd like to move to accept the consent calendar.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we accept or approve the consent calendar or item agenda. Anybody else have anything else to talk about on the consent agenda?
I just wanted to mention that I'm really excited that we're moving forward with modernizing and upgrading our nutrition services now that students are spending more time back on campus. I think this is just healthier options for our students and more efficient operations. So I'm very thankful to Michael Burns for leading that effort.
Absolutely. And Michael has done a great job in making school nutrition guidelines try to work for us, understanding that, you know, it's probably the one thing that kids complain about every time you talk to them about what the school lunches, right? We all complain about school lunches, but you know, sometimes there's only so much you can do with those nutrition guidelines that go with the school lunches. But they can make a mean chocolate chip cookie, within those school guidelines. And I'm sure that with new kitchens and new infrastructure, maybe they could be a little bit more creative. Is he going to get his pizza oven?
Yeah, they do a lot of taste tests with the kids. So that's one of the things that Michael Burns and his team has brought. So they literally go out to the schools and they have kids sample different foods, and then they get feedback. So they, in a sense, it's little mini focus groups, and so that's been an added piece that's helped. I think the hummus was one of those things that was a result of the
contest.
Yeah.
So again, it's innovative ways to try and get our kids to try different things and to work within what we can do. So continue on with that. Anyone else have anything to comment on for the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none other. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, okay, we're moving right along to discussion action. Presentation on our citywide, I'm just trying to find my page. Hold on. Sometimes I look at my first one and then it changes from my first one. Here, a presentation to approve the citywide school safety partnership. So is that you?
Just a piece. So I know safety is something that's on everybody's mind, and it's something that we're working with intentionality. We've tried to focus on some different things. Tonight, we're really going to be focusing on some of the physical safety. And to make a connection, I'm going to give Chief Dunn, I want to give him a shout out. He has pulled together the different school districts, and both at the community college and at the state college level. He formed a task force, and that task force has been meeting. Chief Adams, also with the fire department, is a part of that. And so in that context, you'll hear about some of the ways that we're working together with the chief. And I'm also Chief Adam with the fire department. As a part of this new task force, we were able to have Chief Adams send a representative from the fire department who went out to Fissler at the earthquake drill and was there as an observer to give us feedback. And so just to say, I think city partnerships matter. And it's great when we have someone like Chief Dunn that's helping to bring, everybody from Cal State Fullerton to the school, to the elementary school district. High school district also belongs to this as well. So, and with that, I was just going to ask Chad and Lori if you can do our presentation and kind of update the board where we are. Next month, we'd like to bring out Chief Dunn and Chief Bridges to recognize them with an award. So I'm letting the tail free here. So, Chad.
Good evening. I'm Chad Hammett, Associate Superintendent, Human Resources, President Berryman, School Board, Superintendent Pletka, Cabinet, and guests. We're very pleased to be able to update you this evening on what we've done so far related to safety here in the Fullerton School District. We came and made a presentation in July about all the things we have planned, and now we're very excited because we have an update. We've been very, very busy related to safety, and we have some great information to share with you tonight. So I have a few people who will be presenting with me. I have Dr. Rob Coughlin, and I also have Jeremy Davis, who will be giving presentations, in addition to Lori Bruno. All right, next slide. All right.
And good evening. Happy to report that all of the architect plans have been submitted to DSA. They have them. They've given some comments back, and we're working with our architect to get those approved. Director Scott Schlops and I we've had 10 school meetings at the schools that were not fully 100% secured with perimeter fencing. The meetings were great, a lot of good input that we received. The overwhelming message was the parents do want fencing around the school with a single point of entry. And so that was important. Materials have been ordered, so we're working this on two ends. We're getting the plans approved. While they're being approved, we've ordered the material, so when they do come in approved, we're ready to go. Installation should start happening at some of our schools beginning November 14th.
Yay.
Josh Holmes, Director of Data Systems, Networking, and Information Systems. To start on cameras, then I'll finish it off.
So I have great news. We successfully completed the installation of our cameras on all of our sites, school sites, all 20 sites, except for 2 cameras that are back ordered. So what that means is now we have 250 additional views to keep our students and staff safer now. Other things that are going to happen now that we have the infrastructure and everything installed, the cameras themselves, we will be meeting with our site admins to perform a training, walk them through the usage of it, getting them under understanding of the views, and that's going to be taking place this month and partially next month.
And then next month, as we bring Chief Dunn and Sergeant Bridges here to celebrate, we'll also be voting on an MOU that was mentioned by Trustee Thakur, where we'll be working with the police department, where during extreme emergencies, they'll have access into those camera systems to help us and to help them with emergencies that are helping on our campus. We've been working with the police department and the city's legal team on what that MOU should look like, how we can track, how we can figure out when things are being accessed and when they're not, and how we can have control over that information over all our systems. And lastly, we are looking at some camera entry systems at certain sites. So some things have been brought to our attention where it's like, it'd be really great if we could have some kind of buzz-in system where somebody in an office could see someone and then actually buzz them into an office based on very particular architectures of a handful of schools. So that's something that we're looking at as well.
I just want to call out, I know sometimes with cameras, sometimes people will say, well, how's the camera going to help, kind of like after the fact? So, yes, it can also deter potentially theft and those sorts of things. But I think one of the biggest things is that if, God forbid, something were to happen and both district personnel, but primarily first responders would have access to the cameras, so that if they needed to come onto the campus, they'd be able to see what's happening and if there was a threat. So I think in this spirit of trying to be proactive, the cameras won't just be a help after the fact, but could actually help in the process if something was happening.
Yeah. Jeremy, do you mind sharing about how many schools you estimate we need those camera systems, buzz-in systems for?
At the moment, there's 2 that we're looking at. One is for an entry. One is actually for an ADA compliant entry, where the front of the school might be harder for someone to access, and there's a side entrance. And we'd like the front office to be able to see that person and have them buzz in rather than having to call. We're trying to make it more convenient for the community that needs to come in who might need an accessible entrance. So at the moment, it's just 2 sites.
Is that Golden Hill?
One is Golden Hill and one is Maple.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Sure.
Moving from fencing and cameras to our staff training, I'm Lori Bruno, Director of Risk Management. I wanted to touch base and share our progress towards making sure that all of our staff is trained. As you will remember, in July of this year, we had our consultants, Knowledge Saves Lives, come out and give a basic intro of their philosophy and how they're going to help train our staff. Well, we are moving forward with that. We have scheduled, I think I'm getting old, but I was at most of these drills. We've scheduled 5 drills so far, or actually completed 5 drills so far, and scheduled all of them. So by early 2023, all of our schools will have had site-specific training with KSL, which involves a 4-hour site-specific training focusing on different environments, from the office to the classroom to out on the field. So it's a very comprehensive training, so we're moving along with that. Also, we had an opportunity, myself partnering with ASCIP, our insurance, we had an opportunity to train all of our campus supervision. It was a great opportunity to meet some of our longest coworkers that have been with us for like 10 and 15 years. It was a delight to spend some time with them and train them on the importance of supervision and just interacting with our students. It was awesome. It was a great experience for us. Also, our safety monitors at the junior high had compliance training, but it was really the safety and security of their role and how important that is, and that's called SB 390. And then we've also been doing a series of parent informations. I call it Safety Wednesday across the Fullerton School District, because during the daytime we are doing Knowledge Saves Lives drills, those 4-hour drills, and in the evenings we're doing parent outreach with parent safety meetings that have to do with either cyber safety, social and emotional, mental health, or I'm giving them a preview of what we're offering to our staff as it relates to threat management. So really happy with the progress that we've made in the last 2 months to get all of our folks in. And if you look at that group picture, it's my tradition, everybody who goes through the Knowledge Saves Lives has to have a picture. And so there they are. Yes. And then Dr. Pleka was mentioning this. I'm really proud of the Fissler team. Linda Beecher and Kim Bashaw did a drill, did a level 4 drill this past Friday, and it was outstanding. And basically what it was, if you're not familiar with a level 4 drill, most folks aren't, it's a category of full response in the event you had a major earthquake. And so there was an assumption made that we would have a 7.8, and so the school voluntarily rolled out their incident command structure from search and rescue to parent reunification to medical triage, and it was a very, very comprehensive drill. And what we really like about it is we invited all new administrators, kind of like a safety academy, to come in and learn and watch firsthand what it's like to do that level of a drill. So we're really very, very proud of that staff. As Dr. Pleka had mentioned, we invited our city partners to that. We invited our insurance company. What I feel really good about, in addition to talking to our Fullerton Fire, we also asked our insurance partners, in the event of a large-scale drill, would you know how to support our staff in the event they needed critical care or interventions? And so what was great about some of the things that we talked about is them going back to their stakeholders within their insurance company, the liability and the workers' comp side, to say, what would happen, how could we respond to a school site that had a disaster like this? So it was really, it's a work in progress. But the idea of us actually venturing out, doing a level 4, was fantastic. And I really thank you, Dr. Pleka, thank you, Dr. Hammett, and team for letting us do that. It was outstanding. More to come on that, too.
Yeah.
Oh, we had them. I was like, it was like an SNL comedy relief. It was really good. I was like, let's get a camera on that. They wouldn't let me do it because I would have been a good actress on that.
Yeah, I remember back in 2017, we also partnered with the Fullerton School District when I was working with Habitat and did a level 4 drill. Do you remember that, Lori? The drill, yeah, over at Woodcrest that we did. It was also a level 4 with Dr. Flores. And we also had the community kind of be involved in that aspect of how they needed kind of some support and help. And then, yeah, so
it's really,
vaguely.
Yes, it's a really good process because of the fact that, we're moving from COVID. So, people are like, we're ready to go beyond that, Lori. But the idea of us really looking at the probability of something like that happening is really important. Our parents need to know that we take these things serious, and I think, they incorporated kids into the drill. So the kids got as excited as the staff, and quite frankly, the parents. So it was, I do remember that drill.
Yeah, with the stretcher and the wheelchair.
Yes,
And the kid
that-
holding the injury, the type of injury. Yeah, I was there. No, I wasn't in the stretcher. But one of the kids was holding the type of injury that they had, and they had like a wrap over their head. But yeah, I mean, and we handed out about like 250 like emergency kits to the community and to the parents that attended and supported. So yeah, I mean, if we could find also, again, a way to incorporate the community aspect of it, because we know, right, that it's going to not just impact the school itself specifically, but it's going to impact the community as well, too. And again, like we talked about a few weeks ago, you know, the school being a hub of, you know, where people want to come get some relief or support or, you know, looking for assistance or help, you know, so maybe just kind of incorporating something like that in the future, maybe talking to, you know, our insurance as well, too.
Just to remind everybody that October 20th, the Fullerton School District
Shakeout.
does participate in the Great Shakeout. And there is going to be information that we push out to our families, including best practices and how to do home preparedness as well. And that is something that we've long has been a staple of our emergency preparedness, is what we do with earthquakes. But what was really nice about it is the fact that we were able to share that experience with new principals. That's a pass it forward moment, and I was really happy to see that.
As Dr. Pletka mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, one of the things that we're most excited about is the ability to work together with our community partners. More than ever, there is real cooperation between the Fullerton School District, Fullerton Police Department, Fullerton Fire Department, and the surrounding school districts to make sure that we all have a unified effort and a unified voice in really addressing an emergency that could come up. One of the things that has been really exciting to see since we last presented to you in July is the involvement of both the Fullerton Police Department and the Fullerton Fire Department in our drills, in our preparation, in our emergency and safety committees. They're a partner at the table with us. Chief Dunn and Chief Loesser from Fullerton Fire have both worked together to coordinate meetings with the superintendents and the staff that's responsible for carrying out safety at the school districts, with the high school district, with the local schools and universities, to ensure that we're all coordinating our effort. Another thing that we are really working on is making sure that they have information on all of our schools. School maps, how and where would they need to go to be able to know where the water shutoff, the gas shutoff is. How can they best get onto a campus and be able to get to room 23? And how do you best get there? And really presenting that information, and having them have that in their vehicles when they arrive at a school, so they know exactly where they need to go in the event of an emergency. We also are looking at upgrading our communication systems. We already have a very robust communication system within our district as far as redundancy with walkie-talkies and satellite phones and different things that we have, but we're also looking at getting on the county communication system so we can directly communicate with the county as well in the event of an emergency, and having a direct line to the county so that everything can be coordinated. And we are very excited, just as the letter indicated tonight, that looking at building that partnership between Fullerton School District, the city, and the fire department and the police department to really have a unified effort. And as part of that, one of our first things that we're going to do is hold a joint emergency drill, where we'll be doing an emergency drill, but that drill will fully involve the Fullerton Police Department and the Fullerton Fire Department and the high school district. In the event that there was something major that happened in the city, it just wouldn't impact one school or one district, it would impact the entire city. And that ability for us to work together and to coordinate our efforts and drill together will help make our safety efforts stronger. Yes.
To support that citywide drill, one of the things that we're also very proud of is we have opened up our KSL training to other schools, the high school district, so that they can also train with our employees. We know that often they're the same families, they just have different ages of students. And so we've been inviting the Fullerton High School District to our drills, and also a representative from other schools, whether they're private schools or private like preschools or that type of thing. So that is a part of that unified effort to protect our kids in Fullerton.
Does the board have any questions at this time?
Not a question, but a comment. Thank you for all the effort that you've put into this so far. This is great. And just was remarking to President Berryman, you know, parents might have students at Arborland or Ivy Crest or a local private institution, and it's so important to get them involved as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This really was a broad, out-of-the-box thinking to make this happen in such a expanded way, and that's great. I give kudos to all of you for not seeing edges on the box. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a great team. These are all amazing professionals, and safety is really a top priority. So really appreciate all the work they do.
Any question about that? So you guys are looking for us to approve the citywide school safety partnership and give you our thumbs up on go forward with it?
Moving forward, yes.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that? We need to vote.
Yes, we're asking the board to take a vote on that.
It's a little bit unusual a lot of times when we have committees, we don't necessarily bring it to the board, but we kind of feel like this has a nice, like, symbolic value, and that it's also an acknowledgement of the police department and specifically Chief Dunn and the work that he's done. So, and it's a nice way to call this out for our community that this partnership exists. Again, a little bit unusual. We usually don't bring the committee, but I think this one is so important to our community. So.
Well, right, and it's such a wonderful collaboration between everybody that, you know, we're modeling great behavior, because I think that these are things that, you know, need to happen in our community, and for so many years, sometimes that gets a little hard to do. So in taking the lead on this and being part of this, I think it's very important to show our support to that. So is there someone that would like to make a motion on approving the citywide school safety partnership?
I so move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this collaboration and citywide safety partnership. Any other comments?
We'll have an MOU coming to us, right?
On a slightly different topic. This is just the partnership.
Just the committee
but yeah,
itself?
there's a letter from Chief Dunn, so it's kind of just going to that.
Okay, perfect.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay. 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work.
And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Lori. Lori has really led us through some really tough times over the years, and I don't even want to try to call out some of the things that have happened. But most recently with the pandemic, and somebody who had incredible expertise, but also somebody who spent weekend after weekend, late nights, midnight, 1 a.m, dealing with that. And as we roll now, looking at other things, as we bring our students back, she's been a powerful leader and expert, somebody that has so much care, so much knowledge, and so much, I think,
passion.
And drive, that this is something that we need to do. And there was a reason why she was made the manager of the year this last year. So just a shout out to Lori.
I always tell people, if they've never had a safety conversation with Lori, you need to do that. They're always so wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
President Berryman?
Yes.
3-minute
Thank you,
break,
Dr. Bob.
please.
Personal necessity break?
Personal
All right.
necessity.
Yes. 5 minutes, 8 o'clock. Don't be late. E. And Dr. Conklin is going to walk up to the microphone. Don't you like these people who are bossy? I'm a little bossy because it's a little after 8.
Hundreds of people have flooded the room.
You're on, sir.
I am on. Good evening.
Thank you.
So for those of you who are looking at this item saying, wait a minute, didn't we already approve this? It was brought to the board at the last meeting. It was incomplete, and so we're bringing it back to the board again for the official approval. It's for the electronic signatures.
I move that we accept adopt, is this 22/23-07? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Authorizing the electronic approval of vendor claims orders for the Fullerton School District.
All right, for districts 22, 40, and
I'll
46.
second that.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Any questions, any comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That was the shortest presentation you've had in a long time. Okay. All right, Dr. Hammett. We had asked for this item to come to be considered or at least talked about, so thank you for bringing this information to us.
Absolutely. The next item is a education code and a board policy that allows the board on an annual basis to increase their monthly compensation, their monthly stipend, by up to 5%. The Board of Education here in Fullerton has not increased their monthly stipend since 2014. There has been no change to that. And so at this time, the board has the ability to discuss and decide on whether or not they would like to approve the increase of compensation up to 5% of their monthly stipend.
Dr. Hammond, in 2014, didn't we cut it back?
Yes, in 2014 it was returned. It had been cut back, and in 2014 it was returned back to the $400.
Okay, thank you.
So there hasn't been an increase in that $400 in
8
for as long back as we could look, there has not been an increase, no.
conversation?
How is that dollar amount? How does that dollar amount come about?
That dollar amount is actually the dollar amount that is determined in the Ed Code based on the size of the district, based on number of students attending the district. And that, based on the size of our district, that $400 amount is the base amount listed in the Education Code.
Back when it was first adopted.
When it was first adopted, that's correct.
Do you have any numbers for any other
1402.
districts around that are similar?
I did not do that research. No, I don't.
I wanted to discuss this issue as well, and it's really appropriate that we have 3 candidates here running for a position on this board, and I think it's so important to realize that nobody here is doing it for the money. And, you know, I wanted the community to hear that as well. It really is one of the greatest honors for me to be able to sit up here, and I know that everyone here really cares about the work that we do. So I'm glad that this is being publicly aired and that our candidates can see this as well, because this is time away from family. This is sometimes missing other events or activities, but it's totally worth it. And so I'm in favor of this increase. But by comparison, I think the high school board is around $700 a month. So.
I think it's been something that should have been done quite a while ago, but I think everybody was a little hesitant to make it look like we're trying to get more money. So I think I'm the one that threw it out there thinking that I'm not going to get it.
I just want to take a moment also to acknowledge all of the board here and thank you. The events that you all go to for our kids and the fundraisers that you attend, so the money goes back to our kids, in most cases exceed the amount that you get. So just want to acknowledge all of you, that the contributions that you've made, not just with your servant leadership, but also with your thousands of dollars over the last 4 years. So thank you, everybody.
Remember, November 3rd, Giving Day.
I think I would like to add just the fact that, you know, as you start to look at the turnover of your boards and look at the expenses that go along with it, that you don't want serving a board in this kind of capacity to cost people money. And I think that it does add up, and I think that's what people don't realize is that we try to, you know, as board members, you try to support all your schools, and you try to, if you went to everything that you were invited to, you know, you'd go broke all the time. I think that, you know, it's just the gas that it costs, you know, going from school to school. You know, there are things that we ultimately do pay for, so you don't want it to be something that if somebody's going to run for office, that's going to be something that's going to cost them money. So I think that's what the stipend is for. I think it's just really to help through that. And so I think, you know, looking forward, that this is something that, you know, we don't do all the time, which we could, but maybe now is the time, because as we start to look at new board members.
So I would be happy to approve the increase, make a motion to approve the increase of the Board of Trustees compensation effective October 12th.
I'll second that.
Is there a percentage that you want, because it could be up to 5%, correct?
Up to 5%, that's correct.
Do you want to make your motion to add a percentage, or does it say in here the percentage?
It says 5%.
Oh, it's a 5%. A 5% increase may be provided, and I will make a motion to do that, as you probably won't do this again for a while.
Okay, so it's been moved.
I agree.
Moved and seconded that we approve an increase to the Board of Trustees compensation for 5%. Any other comments?
And that dollar amount's $420, correct?
$20.
So it's
Yes.
a $20 increase, just so everyone knows.
That's correct.
Again, and I think, you know, and I really, people laugh. You feel
No.
really weird up here saying, hey, let's give ourselves a raise. So I think that's kind of why we have never done this before, because again, we don't do this because it's the money, right? We're not doing this to get rich, and we're not doing it for any other reason, I don't believe, but for what we care about in what we do. So thank you
And-
for saying that, and thank you for saying
And-
that out loud so people know.
And some of our board members don't get $400 because they do a direct deposit to some of the Arts Foundation or the Education Foundation. And so the $400 isn't even a number that is in our mind.
Right, right.
And it's taxable, by the way.
Just takes you into a different tax bracket with that $400. You need to retire.
I'm just trying to get to some of the schools a little further away from me with the $20 more.
With your $20, okay. My car right now,
$7 a gallon right now. Oh my gosh!
And I drive
sorry.
a really big car.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I just.
All right, so any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of giving ourselves a raise, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Don't write anything mean in the paper about that, okay?
It's
really
okay.
feel weird about this. Okay, all right. Moving on to item D. Oh, D I took off, so that one's not there anymore. 12, look at you, you're up there already, let's go. Developer fees report.
Right, this is Board of Education. This is an annual report that staff presents to the board. It's shows the developer fee expenditures from the last year for 21-22 school year. Just a little reminder, developer fees are paid on new construction that exceeds 500 square feet, and the payment is processed through the Fullerton High School District. We receive 2/3 of that, and the high school district receives 1/3 of that. What the fee is, it's a tax on capacity. So when a homeowner expands their house or a contractor builds a new housing in Fullerton, they've created the potential for larger families to move in the future, which will create additional demand on the schools. So last year, the district brought in $559,218.31. Expenditures for the year were $81,549, a little lower than before. It doesn't have to be used in that year, It can be used in 5 years, and this is one of the buckets of money where we looked at should the board move forward with engagement centers that could go towards that at those 2 schools. And so the board is asked tonight to approve the report showing the expenditures for last year.
Great. Is there a motion to approve the report?
Sorry, I just had a quick question. Dr. Coughlin, didn't the city approve a new apartment complex over by Costco?
I'd have to check on that. But when those new complexes come in, we had one, I know a couple years ago, we had one over by Golden Hill. And it was by the Ford dealership and a complex like that, which brought in a large amount of money. And that money was then put into some portable classrooms at Golden Hill with increased capacity that will come. I can check and find out on that Costco one.
Thank you.
So I move to approve the development fee report.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the report. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Facilities presentation on the California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act. Wow, that's a lot of words. Look at that, Mike McAdam. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
It's good
Check,
to see
check,
you.
check, check. Yes, yes. President Berryman, board members, Superintendent Dr. Pleka, cabinet members. My name is Mike McAdam. I'm the Director of Purchasing, Warehouse, Contracts, and Reprographics for the greatest school district in the land, Fullerton School District.
In the
Always wanted to
universe.
say that, yes. I'm here tonight more of an informational presentation on, again, the California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act, CUPCA. Got to get back to the cupcake because there's a good story behind that. And there we go. So today's agenda, CUPCA cupcake. So as long as this has been presented to all of us through CASBO, CASH, different entities, they've always referred CUPCA to cupcakes. So to keep that tradition alive, there are cupcakes passed around. We have extras up here. We did have a different vendor provide cupcakes outside, but being the director of purchasing, I love competition, so this is from a different cupcake local vendor in Fullerton. So why are we presenting this tonight? The current rules and regulations for new construction projects are not always realistic at all, and and it does take time and definitely increased time to complete projects as we move forward of scope of work and continued for groundbreaking as we move forward. Just a quick overview, Public Works, what is that? And really it's an agreement, contract for projects that we pay contractors to come on and fix, repair, build, remove, and do many other things on our campuses and district offices and our property. We have different bid limits. $15,000 is our current bid limit for new construction projects. So we have anything below 15 or anything above, which affects how procurement is going to look at that project and whether we have to go out to bid or just get quotes. And then we also have $99,100 for maintenance and services rendered, equipment, supplies, things of that. And again, going under and over varies on what the procurement division has to do, whether we have to go out to bid or use other entities to support us in our moving forward in that procurement. Prevailing wages are always required on labor costs. Anything that's over $1,000, they are required to have prevailing wages tapped onto the quote. Bid bond of 10% on the total contract price is absolutely required. And then payment bond is required on all labor costs over $25,000. There are times we also look at a performance bond, depending on the complexity of the construction project or the dollar amount. We look at those things to give the district a protective area if the contractor is non-compliant with the scope of work as we progress forward. Compliance with Senate Bill 854, and that is the Department of Internal Regulations for DIR registration. And then also, obviously, having a current contractor's license and any subs that they might have on the project. Everything needs to be up and above on that, for that. But for this presentation for CUPCA, we're only going to focus on new construction regarding public works. So not maintenance, just new construction. So the law for California schools, again, California school districts must formally and publicly bid contracts for construction over $15,000 unless there's an exemption. And CUPCA is that exception to this general rule for school districts and other local agencies that elect to be subject to CUPCA or the Act. So here I have a side-by-side comparison of what Fullerton School District currently has and what CUPCA could potentially support us into for new construction projects. So on the left side there we have Fullerton School District non-CUPCA. Anything that is under $15,000, we can get a quote by several different contractors to come in and do the service. We look at the lowest responsible cost, what they're able to do, and perform the work as quickly as possible to get that job done. Cut a purchase order, we move forward. Anything over $15,000 for new construction, there's several layers that we have to do in the purchasing division. We have to advertise it in the local newspaper, typically use Orange County Register, for 2 weeks. That's called the notice calling for bidders. We send that out for an invite for any bidders to go out there and say, hey, this looks like something we could do. After those 2 weeks, we then submit a mandatory job walk, and that job walk will be placed at the location of the scope of work that's going to be placed, whether it be at the district office, a school site, any local area, and we have a mandatory job walk. During that time frame, contractors come in, they sign in, and it's usually myself, the director of facilities maintenance operation, and an architect, and we will have a back and forth dialogue discussion of what we're doing here and what the scope is. And there's questions that the contractors might have of what do we need to do here, what do we need to do here. So it's really getting a closer glimpse of what this project is from paper to now visually seeing it at the site. So from that job walk, it's usually another week to 2 weeks for any RFIs, which is request for informations. And during that time frame, request for informations will come directly to me, and then I'll work with our director of facilities maintenance operation and the architect to get questions answered back, and that will be an addendum to that contract of what we move forward on. So as you see, we have 2 weeks here, another week here, another 2 weeks, and then the great bid opening. That bid opening is done in a public location here at the district office. Contractors do need to have a sealed bid when they come to and turn it in. It is time stamped, and then I get to open it and find out who the lowest responsible bidder is and do my due diligence to make sure I can present it to the board on a board agenda item for that next month on there. So as you can see, this process that we currently have can take 1 to 2 months, sometimes even longer, depending on when we put this on the board for award for you guys, for the board to award it. Kicking over to CUPCA, from the start, if you compare under $15,000, CUPCA, the act, is under $60,000. We can go out and get 3 quotes. Okay, so $60,000, it moved up that dollar amount for us to get projects done for new construction. Within CUPCA, the next step forward is if that job or project is between $60,000 and $200,000, we submit it out to the trade journals, and within 10 days, we can open that bid within 10 days, and then obviously still take it to board for approval after that. And then finally, over $200,000 would be equivalent to the over $15,000 that we currently have, but over $200,000, I would have to follow the formal procurement process that I just mentioned with the newspaper, job walk, RFIs, bid opening, and so on and so forth. So this is just really updating or moving forward and more availability we have with the bid limits that we can procure, but also get projects done more quickly on that.
Just to jump in here, sometimes people ask, why does it take so long? I mean, it's a school district, you know, someone says, hey, I can go and, you know, do something in my bathroom. I can have the contractor come and they could be done in a week. Maybe more than a week. They say a week, no matter what it is. No. But people are always like surprised how long things take in a school district. So add this to the Department of State architecture, and that takes 3 months or 4 months. Then you add this, and that adds 2 or 3 months. And so that's just to begin. Then in terms of ordering supplies and all those things. So if there was a need, as we look at we just passed as an example, an emergency order that would help to accelerate things like fences and fencing, there may be in the future other times where we may want to accelerate a project because it has a special need or a special sense of urgency. So this doesn't mean that you're in a sense that you would always use it, but it's one more tool in a toolbox for how you might be able to move a project potentially quicker. So you know, a lot of this is not the most exciting of information, except Michael, you made it very exciting.
Fantastic.
But again, as a board, you're looking for tools, and sometimes you might want to speed a project along, and this is one way.
I think it's also important to note that limit of $15,000, it has been $15,000 is as long as I can remember, and I'm old. They have not increased that. And so 20 years ago, you could do some work for $15,000, and now with just the cost of construction and prices have gone up, it has not been adjusted. So this is really a way to kind of adjust that price.
And then add on to that, Dr. Rob, CUPCA has increased throughout the years too. So this standard of dollar thresholds that they show, it has increased with times and what we see out there in the environment we have to work through. So that's nice to have that. The $99,100, that does usually get increased every fiscal year up to 5% or 2% depending on what that is. So we do get increases on that dollar amount as well. But it always has been $15,000. As long as I have been under procurement, it's always been that threshold right there. So to let you know that CUPCA does fluctuate with the times that are out there, it does add value to us in what we have to do dealing with projects. So the next slide, again, really quick, fastest is, what we currently have, $0 to $15,000. Quotes, get the best contractor there, lowest responsible bidder, and then obviously we segue over to CUPCA, 0 to 60. That gives us an additional $45,000 just to get quotes within new construction projects to break ground and make movements on projects we want to follow up and not have to waste that 1 to 2 month time frame within the guidelines of public contract code. Fastest. Well, there is nothing in what we currently have right now. So we're going to skip over to CUPCA, and that's, again, the $60,000 to $200,000. Advertise it to trade journals and 10 days prior to bid opening, and we're able now to move forward on getting projects approved and move forward in construction. And obviously the normal of what we currently have, over $15,000, 1 to 2 month time frame. And again, going through those processes I mentioned, and again for CUPCA over $200,000. Again, that's the normal of it, 1 to 2 month process in that. And I do want to say again, the district will award based on lowest responsible bidder when we look at these projects for the best value of the district. So CUPCA procedures, the governing board would approve a resolution if we decided to move forward in that direction, required by CUPCA procedures. The district files approval resolution with the California State Controller's Office. Controller Board enacts informal bidding regulations under Public Contract Code 22034, maintains a list of qualified contractors identified according to categories of work. So how that works is we have contractors that are B license, A license, subs, plumbing, electrical, C33s. We compile a list that they submit pre-qualifications to us, and we can pull for those contractors. So between that $60,000 and $200,000, we would have pre-approved contractors. We can go out and say, hey, we are doing this project, and we pull from that listing from those contractors that were pre-approved by us. So it also gives another layer of support, and also looking at vendors that we currently have that we always let them know, but it gives them also a nice area we can pull from them as well from that. And then obviously approved board policy and regulation adopted to CUPCA. And then board and staff create agency procedures for informal bidding and informal quotes.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What you're asking of us is, there are two ways to go to bid, but we can't use the speedier way unless the board has a regulation to sign up for it, sort of?
A resolution, correct.
A resolution.
Yes. So
And so you're asking for a resolution to give us this opportunity. We can always go to bid if we want, but this
Absolutely.
allows us an opportunity if there's suddenly a roof leak and it's $20,000 because of something, and you can just get right on it. And the list of bidders who are identified contractors is provided by the state, or are they people that you've already approved because they've worked with us?
No, we will advertise that yearly, and so they submit it back to us, their pre-qualification of their work. And so we have a nice pool of contractors, B license, A, all the electrical, low voltage, plumbing, HVAC, that we can pull from on that we have a listing now from.
And that's why
I love this.
I
love it.
The importance of what Mike is doing, though, with the outreach to the community, so that people have a chance to not only just you can advertise something in a newspaper, but by having those regular meetings and having them come there, it helps to spread the word. So that's a big part of the work Mike's been doing.
And I also asked Mike, I said, there's over 1,000 school districts in California. How many are CUPCA districts, if you will? Over 600 of them the boards have passed this resolution to be CUPCA districts.
This is not like Fullerton to be on the bottom part.
I know, we need to catch up.
So segueing into that, some local districts that have adopted CUPCA, Brea Linda, Buena Park, Orange Unified. When I was there, I was helping them get through CUPCA. They adopted that. Anaheim Elementary, North Orange County Community, East Whittier, Columbia Valley, Cerritos College, and El Monte Union High School District are CUPCA members. And so as Dr. Bob and Dr. Rob alluded to, this is a picture from the last week. The Fullerton School District Business Community Partnership Workshop is the name that we are moving forward on. I am on the website now, our district website, under purchasing, and this is more of a workshop on how to do business with Fullerton School District. So we had not just general contractors, but we also have services, dancing studios within the community, and part of it too is it's really collaborative in a way that I can then send that information to our Ed Service Division and say, hey, this could be something great for Encore, or this could be something great for not just construction, but also supporting our school and our students. So we have done that. In the last workshops we've had, I'd say 15 to 20 contractors we currently now work with that do have kids at our schools, and their prices are extremely competitive and better to what we have currently used. So by saving money, but also the excitement the companies have to provide work for the school district their students go to is just, it comes full circle on that. So we're going to continue to do these workshops and reach out to the community And again, the information I share in these meetings, they can go anywhere to any district, any city, any municipality, and understand how public works and projects work within that. So it's giving them power as well to build their brand, but also giving us support when we need that.
And so the purpose of tonight's presentation was to do two things. First, to provide cupcakes here at the meeting, and that was important. And the second thing is to provide this information to the board. And if this is something in the future that the board is interested in pursuing, you've got a little bit more of a kind of some background knowledge on it. But we're not asking the board to approve any resolutions tonight.
And that is because?
Why are we not doing it tonight? There's a lot here, and we just wanted to present it to the board and see if you had any questions, so it wasn't so fast that you had to approve it the same night.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is great because we can speed up the building for our projects that we hope to break ground on maybe in the near future. Would CupCup preclude any project labor agreements or local hiring agreements that you can add on to?
So it doesn't prevent any project labor agreements or anything of hiring local. Those are separate. This is really just a kind of a timing procedure mechanism to use.
So it's not just districts or municipalities or local governments that adopt CupCa. It's also businesses that then sort of modify their practices to fit into CupCa guidelines, right? So do we develop a list of vendors, or is there a list of vendors that are sort of CupCa pre-approved that makes us find them more easily?
Right. So once a year they do have to go through. There's an approval process. They do have to show that they're qualified. So it's to get on that list, they have to be pre-approved. Yes.
Okay, so there is a list that basically we don't have to sift through hundreds of businesses or contractors. They come to us and say, look, you are CupCa, you're a CupCa district, we're a CupCa business. Let's build some stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Just a clarification. I think though, if we have, let's say someone who's not CupCa approved, and let's say they're a new business here in Fullerton, and they want to get on the list, they can.
Absolutely. So this is not, anybody that has a contractor's license can absolutely sign into it. Doesn't matter, local, where they can absolutely sign into it. And so it gives opportunities. And I think, again, building the workshops, I've been working with the local community. That's your local labor, what we can get them, pull them in on that. And I think by letting them and giving them an invitation saying, hey, we are turning into a CupCa district. Here's the application process. Please submit, fill out, and make sure we get it in. And that would absolutely be a priority for us and for myself when we move forward, and hopefully move forward into that.
And Mike, do you already have your next local contractor meeting set up?
Not yet, no. I just had it, this one last week.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the catch? Like, is there a reason why is there a red flag somewhere that says?
It's timeliness, it's time. Time is about the essence. And so if you look at our way we're currently doing public works projects, new construction, within $15,000 that we're having to go out to bid.
Right.
The catch is if we're able to have the opportunity to have those different bid thresholds, the $60,000 to $200,000, we're able to now award contracts within 10 business days after going into a trade journal and then taking it to board immediately.
And I would say that, what's the catch? There's some stuff involved on the front end. I mean, there's presentations that we do here. There's resolutions. We need to work with the state. It's almost as if we're incorporating. I mean, it doesn't just happen overnight. Okay. And so it takes a little bit of time. That would be the catch. But we're at a place now where the cost of construction has just gone up so much that, and we also know that there's a relationship. The faster you can get things built, it's going to save you money in the end because costs just continue to go up and up and up. So
it's the front end work that needs to go along with this. It's the qualifications. It's getting all the paperwork.
there's going to be increased work on staff that we can handle. That would be the catch.
Okay. Thank you. So we, as a group, could say that this is something we would like you to pursue, and then you would go forth and develop an MOU or a resolution.
Correct, because if we had brought the resolution here tonight,
Yeah,
and
no.
I mean, there's time that will go into this, and to do that. So if that's something that the board is interested in, we can bring that back.
Well, we're not going to vote on it because it's not a voted
Correct.
agenda item. Got it.
It sounds like there's some interest.
Sounds like there might be some interest.
Okay, so do I sense a little direction?
Yes.
I would say your direction is to
Okay.
put some time into it and bring back something
That's
to us.
okay. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
But we're
Thank
not
you.
voting on it.
Thank you, Mike. And everybody get their cupcake.
As long as I have a cupcake. Okay. First read of revised board policy on Title I.
Yes, this is Board Policy 6171, which deals with Title I programs. This is the first read tonight, so there won't be any action by the board. Since this policy was last updated, there's been changes to federal laws and regulations regarding Title I, and you'll see that those are represented here in this changes to the board policy that we're recommending based on changes from the California School Boards Association that they're recommending to our board policy.
All right, thank you. All right. Community Partnership Grant presentation.
Follow after Mike McAdam. I don't have food or a fancy acronym to our presentation, but good evening, President Berryman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Bob Plecka, and Executive Cabinet, as well as guests. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our associations. I can't thank enough Darlene, Tanya, Laura, who are at the helm of FETA, CSEA, and FESMA, for their support on this community grant. These are all plans that we have in place, and the plans are fluid. We're actually at the beginning stages of our implementation. So it's very important that we begin this process at ground zero, working with our associations to gather input, because the implementation, it may look messy, and there's going to be changes. So I can't express enough how excited I am that we're working on this together. So I wanted to express that before we begin. And I do want to introduce next a very special person. We didn't have to look too far and wide for the perfect person to lead the project. This is a grand endeavor, and I couldn't think of a better person to have not only have the background in the area of counseling, mental health, but also the community partnerships and her work that she has done around PBIS. Standing beside me is Jackie Gallardo Hoffmaster. She served as our counselor for many, many years, and she served as our lead counselor last year. And just recently, this last week, as she was doing all this work regarding implementation and the community grant, she was presenting at a statewide PBIS conference with Amy Sordelongo, and I hear their session was one of the most well-attended with 80-plus attendees. So with that, I introduce to you, the special person behind me, Jackie Gallardo Hoffmaster, who is now going to lead this presentation.
Thank you. I might adjust this because I'm a little shorter, so hope that's okay. Oh. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good evening, FSD School Board, our Executive Cabinet, our Superintendent, and our FSD community. I'm super excited to be part of this project with our district, leading the way with California and transformative schools. And so we'll go ahead and get started with defining what is a California community school. It is defined as a public school that services pre-kindergarten through grade 12 and has community partnerships that support improved academic outcomes, whole child engagement, and family development. So now what we're going to do is watch a brief little video that shares more about the community school lens.
tool that improves your productivity, triple.
What makes a school a great school? Caring for the whole child. Expanding the horizons of learning. Building relationships with families. Working together to realize a shared vision. This is the school every student needs. This is a community school. Community schools are public schools that partner with stakeholders to create the conditions students need to thrive. Community schools can be found across the United States, and their numbers are growing fast. But what exactly makes a school a community school? They integrate student supports. Clinics, counselors, and other services ensure each and every student is ready to learn. They expand and enrich learning. Extended school days, summer programs, and real-world experiences help students reach their full potential. They engage families and communities. Partnering with residents to identify and meet community needs makes everyone feel safe, welcome, and involved in school. They lead in collaboration. Inclusive decision-making and peer learning builds trust among students, educators, families, and communities. When a school stands on these 4 pillars, it's a community school. Research supports this 4-pillar approach, but there's no one-size-fits-all model. Every community school is different because each community is different. Figuring out what it looks like in your community starts by getting actual community members involved. That's the full-time job of community school coordinators. They're the human bridge connecting all the partners and stakeholders that make community schools possible. So that's what makes a school a community school. Now, how do you pay for it? Startup costs like hiring a full-time coordinator can be raised from foundations or state and local governments. Tapping into existing funding and partnering with local businesses can bring in service providers. Sharing resources and staff with partners can help everyone do more. And as a community school becomes more established, leaders can advocate for budgets that sustain their impact and new funding to expand it. Every community school is different. What will yours be like? Get started at communityschools.futureforlearning.org.
So this was just a great video to kind of capture that lens of what is a community school, how is it defined, and that takes us back to the core of a community school.
Imagine
which is the 4 pillars of a community school. So starting with expanded and enriched learning opportunities and time, it could look at like after school, weekend, and summer programs, integrated student supports, and that looks like having mental, physical health support, social services, collaborative leadership and practices to create a culture of professional learning, trust, and continuous improvement, and active family and community engagement, seeing all our parents and caregivers in the school as partners, leaders, and learners. So really putting together that whole child lens of what are those different parts of a student's life that impact their learning, but their overall health and mental health and well-being. So in looking at the California implementation partnerships, we have 4 key players in California that are leveraging community schools in California. So starting with Alameda County Office of Education, they are monitoring community school implementation and planning grants. We have the UCLA Center for Community Schooling that is sharing best practices and research for community schools in implementation and current collaborative partners within the state and the county level. We also have the National Educational Association to incorporate our teachers' lens and how important their voice is in this community schools model. And then lastly, we have Californians for Justice, which leverages students' voice and agency to make sure we're providing that inclusion lens of all students. So the great news is FSD was awarded the Implementation Award. We received $7,837,500. Round of applause is very warranted. Super exciting. This is a 5-year funding project, and so we're super excited to launch this opportunity this year.
And so you might be asking, well, what is this gonna look like? This is gonna impact 6 of our FSD school sites, starting with Commonwealth, Maple, Nicholas, Richmond, Valencia Park, and Woodcrest school sites. So we're so excited to bring this opportunity to bridge and further our existing student support services with these designated 6 community school sites. We are gonna start this opportunity at Nicholas Community Center. Has anybody seen this? As you're driving by Nicholas. This is the portable on Hill Street behind Nicholas campus by the parking lot. And this is going through a renovation TLC project. And this is gonna be our community center hub for our community schools partnership program. This will be the main focus area for our 6 designated school sites. It's gonna be our centralized location. We'll be able to offer extended hours of operation before and after school. It'll be a central location for hosting our family and parent community engagement events, and also a direct service provider for our students in need of mental health and social emotional learning support. So in beginning with our community partnerships, we're looking at what do we have established and what are we looking to further expand. And so we were able to partner with the Orange County Department of Education and Children's Hospital of Orange County with their wellness-based programs. They work with local school districts to build calm and wellness spaces for students. And so in thinking of our Nicholas Community Center elements, we'll be able to incorporate this space of calm so our families feel safe and secure when they're coming to access resources for their whole child needs. We're gonna incorporate biophilic designs, which are natural colors to create that soothing and calming presence. We're gonna be able to model having coping skills and resilience, and most importantly, amygdala reset, because we know sometimes when we're in crisis, we act on the emotional part of our brain and we're not really thinking logically. So being able to have that safe space to nurture and welcome our families and students to provide that community service and lens of what they're looking for. So FSC was able to look at our different 4 pillars of existing community school sites and leverage what do we already offer for our students and what are core areas that we can focus on. So starting with medical, being able to offer a community nurse, organize health screenings, partnerships with St. Jude Urgent Care and local Fullerton Pharmaceutical Services, wellness with CHOC, parent engagement, being able to offer care connection with Care Solace, incorporating healthy lifestyle topics, workshops, and trainings for our families, providing more access for our families for School Smarts to further be involved and engage with their child's learning and access, resources with our social service assistants, community liaison, social service Care Solace, further bridging more access for our families in the time of need of what they might be looking to remove those barriers in the learning environment, developing partnerships locally, county, and statewide, using our mental health support services to provide virtual therapy care, school counselors to provide social emotional support, and leveraging our academic programs for expanded learning, such as the Encore program, speech and debate, OC United, Boys and Girls Club.
Excuse me, I have a question. Sure. This, wonderful, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a cost to families? Is there a sliding scale? How does it work?
So we're working with our health providers with St. Jude and pharmaceutical sales so that we can be able to provide a 2-way path for our families. If they don't have access to health care, there is funding with the grant to be able to cover the costs, but then if a family does have medical insurance, we'll be able to bill the insurance provider. But we also want to walk the families through the process. If they don't have insurance, connecting them to that immediate need to address the student's health needs, but then layering that with opportunity to connect them with an insurance provider to make sure they're able to get that insurance and health access.
And I'm sort of with everything. Everything has
There's no cost.
no costs.
So no cost to students. So we're really excited and a lot of moving pieces. And so these are just some images of our local community partners that are already established and will continue to grow and flourish. And with this opportunity to further develop more community partnerships. And as I was listening to previous presentations, I think it goes right in line with servicing of our Fullerton communities and different partners, whether they're business, education, or mental health providers. So this is really an opportunity to leverage
partnerships we have and further expand those opportunities for students and families.
And if I may add here, we tried our best as we were applying for the grant, knowing that we still need to get our stakeholders, our educational partner inputs. If you notice the partners, they should look very familiar. We already have an existing partnership with Care Solace, existing partnership with St. Jude, existing partnership with OC United Boys and Girls Club, CHOC for their health screenings, Cal State Fullerton, Orange County Department of Ed. So we tried our very best to stay with the integrity of the programs we have, and we want to be able to turn the table over to our steering committee, which we'll talk about next, to determine the hows from here, and make sure that as we're planning this out, that the team also, because as you notice in the video, the needs come from the community. We need to hear from the sites, and that's a very important part of this plan. So as we wrote the grant, we were very intentional to leverage what is strong here in Fullerton as we exist as our existing partners to expand upon that as well. Right.
So we kind of wanted to share what are some next steps in terms of sustaining the vision, and we really have the lens of our Nicholas Community Center as our main hub, and really providing that whole child lens, and starting with the steering committee to gather those different educational partners' voices, and then being able to provide medical and mental health to our students and families, and then sustaining family and community support. Which brings us to our next part of developing a steering committee. And so really echoing on the voice of having a collaborative leadership structure where we're taking into account our district, our community, and school site members, talking about key roles, our vision, our policy, what are resources available, how do we coordinate different planning, how are we managing programs, how are we implementing them, and then inviting different educational partners to be part of these conversations. So our district staff, our school site staff, our different associations, whether if it be management, classified, certificated, community members, board members, parents, caregivers, students. And so we have reached out to our different associations. We have our first official steering committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 2:30, I believe, in this location. So if anybody is interested in joining our steering committee, you're welcome to send me an email. I apologize, I have a really long name. So Jacqueline_Gallardo_Hoffmaster@myfsd.org, but we welcome your voice, your agency, and this opportunity to join this community schools movement with us in Fullerton. Thank you.
Are there any local districts that have community schools?
Yes, our most local would be Anaheim, and so they also have received planning and implementation grants.
Anaheim Elementary, or?
I believe the high school district, yeah. And Orange Unified as well.
When you invited the people to come to the steering committee, how did you do that? I mean, are there people from our different, Woodcrest community, all of our communities have already gotten their invitation, or is it?
So far, it's been our association representatives and an invite to invite anyone from the association at large. We've invited our management team, and from there, we're going to expand. Tomorrow's the first day to share with them this presentation. It's overwhelming, and we can release the whole grant in terms of writing, but we want to make sure that we start off with the basis of a community school. What is a community school? I'm not sure if we have an understanding, and you see just even from that 2-minute video that we can make it ours. And so with that permission to be able to start building, the initial meeting is quite small, and we're planning to expand as we go. We'll have frequent meetings. The state is also new in this implementation piece as well. We're fortunate to have local districts who have received the planning grant, which is different from the implementation grant. So they've been given time to plan it before implementing the plan itself. But when we were going for the grant, we only had one choice, either to go for the planning or implementation. And obviously, we went for the one with the most bang for our buck. So this one, it involves now beginning groundwork stages of planning, building as we are implementing, and so the journey has already begun. We know with actually getting the funding, but we had to write something to actually get the funding. But there's a lot of room for input at this point.
And do you have a list of other schools in the state that have done a very good? I know that we've heard a few speakers from throughout the years on schools that have been doing this for a little bit. That I know we can give you some.
We're very fortunate to actually have people who have paved the way, but once again, making it theirs.
Right.
But Jackie logs in every week. I try to join if I can. There's a lot behind the scenes. Even the video highlighted to the first thing you do is hire a full-time staff member. And so we follow that first and foremost, because there's a lot of work to log into these meetings to know not only the compliance piece, but the guidance needed to actually move this forward. So my understanding is they share districts, local districts, statewide districts, and you can see it spread across the nation. They share their journey, which there's a lot to learn from that.
Do we have confirmed folks attending tomorrow?
Yes, we do.
All 6 principals have texted me, yes, 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 with exclamation marks. We have confirmation on our union members, representation for tomorrow's meeting, yes.
St. Jude as well.
Oh, no, yes, it's a closed circuit tomorrow, and then we will be expanding these meetings as we branch out.
Got to get the buy-in from the schools first.
Right.
Oh, so tomorrow's steering committee meeting is more like representatives from the 6 school sites that are going to be.
And our associations, yes.
Okay.
This is really exciting. This is something that we have been wanting for a very long time. So thank you again. Thank you for all of your hard work and going for the implementation as opposed to the planning, because then that way we can say we no longer have to say, oh, we're thinking about it and we're planning it. We're just going in. So thank you.
As much as I would love to take credit for Dr. Bob's words, it didn't happen within a week. Dr. Bob came to me actually a year ago with the vision for this. It just so happened that it aligned with the grant that was funded by the state. But the vision itself was not a 1-week vision. So the credit actually goes to Dr. Bob.
Is there expected to be another steering committee meeting before the end of the year?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Ongoing.
Will you provide us with dates?
We will provide you with the dates. It'll be ongoing.
Is it already
Very
scheduled?
infrequent.
Like the next one? Is it?
Not yet, but we will decide that tomorrow and get back to you.
Thank you.
So you're welcome to join. Thank you.
I think they had to present it to us first before they can go forward.
So,
Do you need anything from us on this other than hurrah?
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. I think, again, when we talk about the foresight of the board and your vision to really address the whole child, and this grant allows us to do it in ways that we can't even dream possible. The whole medical piece, the idea that potentially kids that don't have insurance might be able to have access to antibiotics. So it's that piece to me is a new area and something. There's a reason why in some of our Title I schools students are absent more during the pandemic. They didn't have access to health care, and so this is one aspect. Of course, the social emotional is huge. The parent engagement piece, we can expand that. So there's all kinds of things that I think this will give us access to. Extended learning, the experiences, we're big on experiential learning, so that's where really our educational partners can really help us and say, hey, look, here's some opportunities we can do in that area. Again, so excited about the possibility of ongoing parent engagement and workshops. So all of those things, this is pretty big.
Do you have something you'd like to add?
No.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. On that note, I believe we're at the end of our, on the high note, right? We're ending on a high note? Okay. Are there any items for possible future board meetings? All right. Seeing none for right now, we will adjourn this meeting. 9:02.
9 o'clock. Ooh, all right.
Who was on?
I'm off. I was off by a half hour. I said 8:35.